So, thank you guys for jumping on today. I've got Andy from GloveBox. I'll let him do the introduction of himself, but his mobile app, between him and his brother, really grabbed my attention, and I've used some of them out there before. So, Andy, before we jump into the app side, give them a quick background, because I know you worked in insurance prior to jumping on the tech side.
Yeah, that's correct. And actually, that's just part of this next slide. So let me just talk about that real quick. So guys, Andy Matheson, co-founder, CMO of GloveBox. Between myself and the executive team here that you see on your screen, my brother Ryan, my business partner Sean, the three of us are actually former agents and agency owners of a fairly large independent agency here in Denver. My dad started an agency in 1998, and my brother and I joined in 2010, roughly. At that time, in 2010, our agency was about $5 million in premium. So it's, smaller mid-sized book. We were able to formulate and develop a plan to scale very quickly. We grew it to 100 million in premium in just under a decade. So that's kind of some clout for us in our experience and background. We've been in the trenches. We know what you're going through. We had a personal lines book of business that is about 95% of that 100 million, and then a smaller commercial book. But we know the independent channel like the back of our hands. And so that's kind of our background and why we knew that there was something to be said for independent agent technology specific to what's going on with our industry. So I'll talk about that more in a minute. I didn't know, Travis, if you want to jump in anything else.
No, I just found it was there's a lot of tech companies out there that are building insurance products, but part of the challenge is they don't know what we deal with on a daily basis. And so I found that unique when I was talking to you guys about your product, because you've actually been in the trenches, like you say. And so that was one of the things that I really appreciated about that, because there was some unique differences on a fundamental level that I think make a huge difference in the client experience. So.
Yeah, thank you. We have a good grasp on what's out there and what needs to be different about the pieces of technology specific to the apps, and so we can dive into that. So you can see who we are and what we've built, and then of course the spaceman there is kind of our mascot, so he's included. But we've also brought on not only a CTO and his development team in-house, but a board advisor by the name of Scott McNeely. This individual is the former CEO and co-founder of Sun Microsystems, which is now Oracle. So he has been instrumental in our growth and connections to the tech world. So you'll kind of see his name throughout. But guys, this is what I want you to focus on. If you own an agency or you're a part of an agency, you can see this to be true. And the problem here is that less than 20% of a client base, really 17 or less, is actually registered for an account with their carrier, which means they're not utilizing the service portal of their carrier. And there's two reasons why this happens. One, because typically the insurance agent doesn't do a great job of promoting those portals. Hey, you're written with Safeco, go get an account with Safeco and use their service portal for basic stuff. The second reason it happens is because you have to have a policy number in order to register for an account with these companies. And I don't know about you, but I don't know my policy number very well, or it's not in my back pocket. So when I'm going to register for a carrier, I don't have that policy number handy. I have to go dig through a filing cabinet and figure it out. So those are the two reasons why this is happening. Now, what this means is 80% or more of your client base is relying on your agency for everything under the sun. They're calling you for, can you send me my ID card? Can you send me my deck page? How do I pay a bill? How do I start a claim? We call those tier 1 service requests, things that can and should be handled by technology, and doing so through a app specific to your agency. So we'll talk about that in a minute. We did a study, guys, and this study was super interesting. We looked at the mobile apps from every carrier and every distribution channel of insurance. You have internet companies, captive companies, and then companies inside the independent channel. If you open up the App Store on your phone and you go type in Esurance, Root, and Geico, you're going to see the ratings for each company. Each of these three companies here have great ratings, and it makes sense because you buy directly from Esurance and you download the Esurance mobile app. So they have great ratings and a lot of them. And then you head over to the captive channel and you see Allstate, State Farm, USAA, American Family, those types of companies. You look at their apps and they have awesome ratings as well. And people are using them. Look at these numbers here, hundreds of thousands, millions. So it's obvious that they're using these apps. You head into the independent channel, guys, and for lack of a better term, if it's just embarrassing, you have these multi-billion-dollar companies with really low adoption on their mobile apps, not very many good ratings and not very many of them. I mean, guys, we've been around for a year and we almost have more ratings than these companies. And it's very strange to me that this is going on. But it's because of those two things I talked about earlier. They don't have their policy numbers when they're going to register, and the independent agent doesn't push them to these carriers to download the app. So that's why this is going on. So, your policyholders are frustrated. They want to grab their documents on their own. They don't want to have to call you, but they do. And then they want to pay a bill. They want to start a claim. They want to communicate with the agency, but they don't know how to do all this stuff. So that's kind of the problem from the policyholder standpoint. From your standpoint, on the other side of the table, what is frustrating for you? Well, you're getting service calls throughout the day that are kind of a waste of time. They're not making you money. They're not necessarily increasing your retention. They just have to be handled. So we were getting 450 calls a day at our agency, and we noticed, why are there so many calls coming in, and why are they all so basic? So that's, I'm sure, what's going on at your agencies, and it can waste a lot of time. And you have to maintain good retention and deal with decreasing commissions by carriers and deal with rising overhead costs. But really what I want to focus in on, guys, is the expectation of the client. If I'm a client using a mobile app or any sort of technology in general, it better be good, it better be valuable. What you see on the left is Liberty Mutual's mobile app. It's very clean, easy to use, and simple. On the right, you see these management system portals, right? You have EasyLinks and AMS 360 and Applied, and they give a portal for the client to log into and grab an accord form is really what it is. And if I'm looking at this as a consumer, this was never supposed to be intended for me. This was an internal facing document that's now I have access to. And if I'm looking at this as John Smith, the client, I'm having a hard time reading this. I don't really know what I'm looking at. So that's what's going on right now. So we said, hey, we're agency owners. We're going to sell our agency, move on to start GloveBox, because this can and should be better. A agency branded, an agency technology that's consumer facing, allows the client to do some agency features like request service, request a quote, easily refer you out, and then carrier connection features such as grabbing the actual policy documents from the carrier, paying a bill, and starting a claim. So I'll show you how all this stuff works in just a second. We have two different types of connections with our carriers. Now, what you're going to see is there's other mobile apps out there, but they're not connected to the carriers. We are, and that's what makes us different. We're not necessarily dealing with a connection to the management systems. We're dealing with connections to the carriers, which gives us the real push and pull information that we need to provide to the consumer. Our two connections are an API direct connection, which allows us to plug into their system directly and, again, push and pull information. If the carrier has not given that API access yet, or they don't have the APIs yet, we embed their service portal into GloveBox. So we've basically taken every app and every service portal from all carriers and put them into one platform and brand it to the agency. Again, I'll show you what that looks like.
Do you know how many are actually the API where it's true connection? Like what range?
We have about 15 that are connected through API at the moment, with a good 10 or more that are in development to be pushed into that sector. The other remaining carriers are in that service portal connection. So it's still a good experience, and I'll show you what that looks like. We know that independent agencies are going to have to start offering a self-service option. Clients are used to it. If they're coming from State Farm and American Family over to you, they're like, hey, where's your app? I want to deal with you. All right. So this is going to become an expectation. With our system and what we've built a product called GloveBox Elite. What this means is you have the option as an agency to either roll out a company-wide app to your clients or a specific producer app, which you see on the right, meaning, hey, all my producers can have their own app as well as the agency. And we actually distribute your app for you. We don't want you worrying about distribution. So we actually take your client list, we import it into our system, and then we go ahead and we send out invitations to your clients to start downloading and using your app. It's white labeled to you as far as the invitations and the messaging that goes out, and obviously the app itself. So we can get into these specifics on what GloveBox Elite is if you are interested. We've built in a really cool quote form, the ability for a client, whether they are a prospect or a current client, to open your app and request a quote. I'll show you what that looks like. We've added a service request button for clients to, request whatever, add a vehicle, add a driver, change this, that, and the other. They can do that through your app as well. I'll show you what that looks like. And I kind of talked about this a little bit, but the ability for us to distribute your app for you. And I kind of just described that. So I was a little ahead of myself, but that's what we do. We don't want you worrying about promotion or distribution. Go sell insurance and maintain your good retention, and let the technology take care of itself, and let us distribute your app for you. All right. The expectation for an agency, and a lot of our agencies are seeing this, in the first 2 months of distribution, we send out 3 text messages and 6 emails in the first 2 months to invite the client to download and start using the application. In those first 2 months, you're going to see about 20 to 30% of your client base starting to use the app. And then over time, we actually continue to send them an email once a month, reminding them of the features inside the application. Again, it's branded to you, that messaging. And you're going to start to see the clients are using it more and starting to accept that that's the way they interface with their agency. So adoption's going up, and it's becoming a standard that at your agency, you interface with us on basic stuff through the app. So what you're going to see with GloveBox is the following: really a reduction in customer service cost because not as many calls are coming in, an increase in retention because clients are having a better taste in their mouth about your agency. New business is actually going up because now you have a platform to put onto your referral partners' phones for them to refer you out. Mortgage brokers, realtors, financial planners, whoever it may be that refers you business, get your app on their phone and have them send out your app to their clients who are now your prospects. And then just that increased loyalty to your agency. So that's definitely what's going on and what our current agencies are seeing with GloveBox. We've made it really easy for agencies to get started with us. We grab your agency details, we grab a logo, we build your app. Number 2 there, if you have producers that want their own app within your agency, we can build it for them. Number 3, fairly simple. We talk about your management system. We help you build a report inside that management system, which gives us the client list so that we can import it into our system. And then we have a team onboarding call prior to launching this out to your clients and make sure everyone's on the same page about how this is going to work. All right. Now I'm going to get to the part where I can share my phone screen and show you the actual application. So give me 1 second here.
I just want to say on the adoption rate, while you're pulling that up, I was pretty impressed on how many of our clients installed it that quickly when we started rolling it out. And then within the first month, we got a quote request from the app, which was totally unexpected, but a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. And it's because the clients are screaming for something to manage their own insurance without having to call you, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest piece. So what you're seeing here, and you can see my phone screen, correct?
Yep.
Awesome. So what you're seeing here is the web application. We have a web app and we have a native app, which is the one you download on your phone. When we send out the invitations to your clients to start using your app, they're going to get a link as well, which points them here, which would be your web application. And I personally have my policies with Colorado Insurance, which is why you're seeing that logo. But obviously that logo would be your agency's. And then they can start their account on the web app, and then they can download it on their phone. This banner at the top, if I click on it, it's going to point me over to the App Store, whether I'm on an iOS or an Android. So if I can click download and that'll start downloading. In the meantime, I'll show you what the web app does. And it's the same thing as the native app. So I would say, as it says here, congratulations, Colorado Insurance is now offering GloveBox to our valued policyholders. Through this app, you'll be able to do the following, and it lists off everything it does. All right, so then from here, to start your account and to access your GloveBox, I just type in my phone number, which pre-fills for me. And then we send you a PIN number to your phone right away. There it is. So this is your password. They don't have to remember a username and a password. Every time they log into GloveBox, it's just type in your phone number and you get a PIN. All right, unique every time. All right, so I've just entered GloveBox for the first time. There's my agency, below are my carriers. We, given that we know your client list, have made it a GloveBox for every client at your agency. So when they enter, they don't have to do anything as far as knowing who their carriers are. We build their GloveBox for them. So I personally have policies with Travelers and Nationwide, so I can see that right here. So what I'll do is I'll click on Travelers and show you what that does. If I click on Travelers, it's going to open up the policies that I personally have with them. So it's saying, hey, I have 3 homes and an auto. If I click on one of those home policies, it's going to prompt me to connect to Travelers. Great news, Travelers is directly connected with GloveBox. To get your policy documents, simply click on the button above to enter your Travelers login credentials. Now remember, not many of your clients are going to have an account with their carrier, and we know that. So what we did is we give them the option. Do you want to log in using the credentials you may already have, or do you need to register for an account with your carrier? Oh, and by the way, here's your policy numbers. So we give them everything they need to register. They can copy their policy numbers. And remember, we have those numbers because of the client list we got from you. And if they click register, we kick them over to the registration process with Travelers. So now they can get their account done. All right. Once my account has been created, and by the way, one of the questions on here is what is your policy number? Once they make their credentials, they can jump into GloveBox and properly log in. Now your phone's going to remember the credentials you just created, so they don't have to type anything. They click log in, and now I'm making a stable connection to GloveBox. I only have to do this once. I don't have to click log in every time I enter GloveBox. I am logged in, and now it's a stable connection. It just grabbed my policies that are associated with Travelers, and it stored them in my GloveBox. So now if I click on Travelers, there they are. Auto policy, my policy document is right here. Here's my deck page. Live and up to date from the carrier. And I could share this with anybody using that arrow at the bottom, email, text, whatever it may be. And then here's my ID card as well. If I need to show a police officer, DMV, send it to a friend, whatever it may be. And then at the bottom, we actually list out the drivers that are insured, and we list out the vehicles that are insured on this policy. If I need that policy number again, I can copy it and pay a bill. Like the first question it asks you when you pay a bill is, what is your policy number? A good thing I have it right here. Otherwise, I'd have to go dig in a filing cabinet or call my agency for it. And I can proceed to pay my bill. All right. So that's the first carrier type. The second carrier type would be through that embedded service portal, Nationwide being one of those examples. Now let me do this. I'm going to open up the native app, the one I downloaded on my phone. If I go to my home screen here, you can see it's right there on the top right. And I've already started my account. So I can just type in my phone number, if I can remember it properly. There we go. And it's sending me that PIN number. There it is. Click verify, and I'm back in my GloveBox. If I click on Nationwide, this is the Nationwide example, which is that embedded service portal. So they are one of those types of carriers that does not have the API prepared for us yet, although they're actually on our list. They're going to be rolling out here in about 3 weeks. But if I'm this type of carrier connection, I just click log in. And what this does is it pulls in the Nationwide experience all within GloveBox. So I'm not leaving the app. I'm all within the application here, and I can do everything the same. I can view my bill, I can print my ID card or view my ID card, file a claim, etc. So the same features with the carrier. It's just not that storing of the policy inside of the app, if that makes sense. They show the policies that you have listed, but I can't actually click on them and use them. I have to click login to grab them, if that makes sense to everyone. Same concept.
Andy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, I had a couple of questions here. On the Travelers example you used where you had multiple policies, I can't remember. When you register, does that pull all of them in, or are you going to have to fight through Travelers to figure out how to link all 3 policies? Or different companies like that?
Yeah, so if I'm understanding your question properly, if I'm logging into Nationwide, right here, it's a search by policy number, so I can see my actual policy. Well, remember, I just copied that from my GloveBox, so now I can proceed to find that, if that makes sense.
Well, what I'm talking about, when you had to register for a new account with Travelers, and you use one policy number, do you have to do that process 3 times, or how do you link them together?
I see what you're saying. So Travelers is funky. Every carrier is different. Right. Travelers makes you create your account, great, but now they actually have you link your policies to your account, which I think is ridiculous, but that's not my rule. That's Travelers making you do that. So you can do that from GloveBox, right? So you would just be able to click on Travelers and be able to log in to make that happen, to sync your policies with your account. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So once that's all set up one time, you're good. We think that Travelers needs to improve their process. But now, not all carriers are like that. They're all unique, if that makes sense.
And the, I guess the payment link, with that one being an API one, I guess I
Yeah,
expected
so
that.
I'm
I guess I
glad-
would have expected the make a payment to go right to that policy to make a payment versus kind of asking you for a policy number again.
Thank you for bringing that up. So
Yeah.
what we're doing is we're in discussion with all of our carriers that are connected through API to give us a billing API, which will actually pre-fill all the information we already know. So they'd click pay a bill inside of that policy and it would pre-fill everything and they can just enter their payment information.
Got it.
So that's happening. What you
Okay.
see today is really base level connections, right? We're just trying to establish our connections with the carrier. And then from there, we can work on the experience because that's only going to get better. So I'm glad you brought it. Yeah. Now let me show you the agency side. So I'm clicking on the agency card. I want to interface with my agency. Here's the few things I can do with my agency. I can request service. I can request a quote. I can set an appointment. I can refer my agency out. Let me show you what that looks like. If I'm going to request service, this pulls up an automated chatbot, and it's automated given that, we've already documented. I don't know why it's taking so long. Come on, Zoom. There it goes. So there we go. This is an automated chatbot. So the client feels like they're talking to you, but this is already pre-generated. So what happens here is the client can make their request and this compiles all the information and sends you an email with that request. All right. So you can collect good contact information if you don't have updated contact info and proceed to the client making their request. Okay. So it's obviously very self-explanatory and it leads them down the path of being able to make that whatever change they need to make. All right, so you can see here, how can we help you today? And you're off and running. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Now request a quote, same concept. We pull up a form, and this is a GloveBox proprietary form we built for every agency. And a new prospect or a current client can fill this out. So, hey, I'm a current client. I want a new quote, whatever it may be. Or, hey, I am a prospect. I've never gotten a quote with your agency before. Let me go ahead and fill this out as a prospect. All right. So the other thing we can do under this get a quote button would be to use your rating system widget. So let's say you have Easy Links, for example. They have a widget that we can install into this get a quote button. So you can either choose to use our form or your widget, which would input your client's information into your rating system. So it's totally up to you. But you can see how this would be beneficial. We put in a little carrot at the bottom that says, are you a home lender? So you could teach your mortgage brokers to send you business through your app. One of the questions we have them fill out is right here. If you're familiar with the mortgage broker process, they have something called a 1003. We used to get a lot of business from mortgage lenders. Myself, I generated about 15 leads a day on mortgage lenders, and I can send you a packet if you're interested and show you how I did that. But the client or the mortgage broker can actually upload their 1003 right here and send it to you. So that's huge. Look out for more to come with that piece. Obviously, the client can set an appointment, but the last piece would be refer your agency out. If I want to refer you to my friends and family, I can do that really easily. If I click text message there, it's going to open up a text box with all the text already generated for you. It says, hey there, my insurance agent's app I was telling you about. You're going to love them. All you need to do is click on the link and get a quote. So that link at the bottom is actually going to point them to your specific mobile app. All right. Look out for more there as well. We're really building everything out a little bit more and more each week in each month. And then it's connected.
I'm sorry, one more question. While you're back there on that get a quote, we want the Easy Links widget. We actually just left the Easy Links and started going to use the PR Rater since we're on AMS 360. They just finally came out with a refreshed version of their consumer quote, mobile friendly. Does that work with that too? Do you know? Or
if it is tagged to some sort of a link, then we can plug it into that button.
Okay, perfect.
So that's big. A lot of agencies are really enjoying the option of saying, hey, I want to trial this for a couple of months on the widget that I have, or I'll switch over to your form and see if that works better. So they're trying to see which form works better or which process is a better experience. Two other things. This specific agency has chosen not to activate SMS, but we do have the SMS capabilities. If your agency allows SMS and a client can text you, we can add it here. So they can call you, they can email you, or they could text you from the application. So this agency just chose not to do that. And obviously the social medias are there as well. Two other things, and then I'll stop talking. Bottom middle, you see the carrier tab. We feel like we've plugged in pretty much every carrier that we can think of. If there's one on here, we can pretty much add it within 24 hours. But why is this good? It's good because what if a client only has a home policy with you and they have their auto with these guys? Well, they can manage their insurance through your application. If I click add to GloveBox and go to my homepage, their State Farm card is going to be right there. So the policies they have with you, they can manage, and they can also manage their policies with State Farm right here. If I click log in, we essentially just pulled in the State Farm app, and they could access everything they need to access, if that makes sense. This is also good because let's say a prospect decided not to go with your company, but they have your app. They can actually still manage their insurance through your app and see your agency's logo wherever they go. So there's a couple great perks there. And then the last piece I'll show you is the chat bot on the bottom right. We don't want you dealing with tech support. It's not your problem. It's not what you do. That's us. So if the client has to, question or wonder how this technology works, they can open up the chat bot and they can see what answers they need to be, resolved. And then we can actually jump in live and chat with them as well. So we kind of take care of everything on the tech support side. Under the account tab, there's a FAQ page as well. So if they have, a frequently asked question, they can go ahead and say, how do I connect my policies? And there's a video on how to do that. So they can go ahead and see all these different videos on how to use the application. So we feel as if we thought of everything as a baseline infrastructure. We're planning on adding commercial within the next 90 days. So right now, this is home and auto specific, personal line specific. And we're adding commercial, life, and health within the next 90 days. So something to look forward to and get excited about. I'll leave this last carrot for you. We're actually adding a marketplace in the next 4 or 5 months. This marketplace is going to allow your clients to purchase insurance through your app. Meaning, if I need pet insurance, if I need cyber insurance, if I need short-term rental, whatever it may be, I can actually click on your app and purchase that directly underwritten through the carrier that they're written with, and you get paid commission, obviously. This is going to be a huge marketplace and cross-sell and upsell opportunity for you as an agency through your technology. Something to get excited about.
Has that been publicly said before?
It has never been publicly said before, but I'm not worried about it.
Well, because when I talked to your brother and he told me about that part blew my mind, was the fact that our clients could just click a button and buy pet insurance through our app, because we all know the producers don't always tell them or ask the right questions on everything. And so here's a way to circle back around.
Glass, water sewer backup, whatever it may be, the endorsements, whatever you guys haven't sold because maybe you just weren't thinking about it at the moment. Your client can go in and buy that. It's really cool upsell and cross sell. Now that's coming. So it's obviously not here today, but we're working hard on that stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. And coming back to, because you got the enemy right there on the screen with intermixed with our carriers. I thought this was a pretty cool concept, having everybody else's stuff, because it's still branded to our agency. We can still take care of them, which kind of leaves our foot in the door because it's locked to us.
So as well as we are working on giving you access to every individual client's glove box, which means you will go into your dashboard, you'll type in John Smith, the client, and you'll see what they have in their glove box. That's super cool. Now, we're not sure if we're going to have to if the client has to give you permission. We're still working on that part, but we know that's going to be something where you're on the phone with them. Hey, can you give me permission to see your glove box so I can work through your new quote, whatever it may be.
Dude, just bury that in the terms of service somewhere and they'll agree to it.
Dude, I know it. I know. We're working hard on that. It's the legal stuff, of course. So yeah, we're working hard.
Good old lawyers.
Yeah, right.
If you can bury it in there too, it'd be nice to be able to run a report on carriers that we do not license with to see which ones are out there too, to be able to go who to market to.
I'm with you. We're working on that. Basically, and if you become a business partner with us, you license the technology, we take your feedback and we implement as much as we can. With our current agencies, they're loving that, just to say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And there's more often than not that we're going to go ahead and make it happen. We know what we've done in trenches, but you guys are there currently. So, you're obviously more up to date with everything. So. So that's all I got. I'll open it up. Oh, actually, I lied. I'm going to talk about pricing for 1 second, and then we will move on to Q&A. So let me open that up. So pricing, how do we do pricing? We do our pricing based on, and can you see my pricing screen here? Awesome. So we do our pricing based on the number of clients that you have in your personal lines book of business. So you are put into a bucket, if you will, and that is your per monthly rate. We are removing the setup fee for everyone in this group, and we are adding on a 20% off the flat monthly rate. So you'd find your bucket, take off 20% the flat monthly. That'll be your monthly cost.
That's awesome. I'll have a link for you guys to connect with him so you can get that discount.
Yes, awesome. What other questions might you have?
Was that on that screen? Did it have the difference between the agency versus the agent?
Oh, I should have added that. It's $39 per month if you want one of your producers or any producer to have their own version of your app. So they would have their own app as well. $39 a month add-on.
Because if you got a good solid producer that's truly building relationships, that's a good way to tie them and brand them together.
And you have the option of having them pay for it or having you pay for it. That'll be part of the onboarding.
Even better, make them pay for their own.
I'm with you. We've had some agencies who have said they're going to pay for it, and then they turn around and charge the producer more, so they want to make money on it.
Hey, just sell more policies. I'm fine with that. I'll cover the 39 bucks.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Hey, the best part of this webinar so far is Todd's background, and I'm going to call him out. That is the best thing I've seen all week. If you guys aren't familiar, that's The Office, the show.
I'm just going to tell him that guy has not moved, just so he can fire him. He's not moved.
That's the best. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to binge watch The Office all weekend. Awesome. Well, that's all I got.
You guys have any other questions?
So you mentioned you can white label it, and that's white labeling it once you're in the app, correct? So the app icon in the whether iOS or Google Play Store, that is still reflecting the GloveBox branding, correct?
Yeah, and what we've done is we've talked to our developers about giving us the ability to put your logo on the actual icon that lives on your phone. That's a really tough deal. What that would mean, as we understand it, is that you'd have to have your own developer account with Apple and Android. It's kind of a pain because then we have to push all updates to that developer account. It's not as easy as it sounds, but when the individual clicks on GloveBox, they're going to see your branding immediately. It has nothing to do with GloveBox at that point. So what we do is our rollout messages and our ongoing messages have your brand and your logo, and then from there below that it says powered by GloveBox. So they get used to using the GloveBox logo, and anytime they think insurance, they think GloveBox, which leads them to your agency. And regardless if it's personal lines, commercial, life, health, whatever it may be, obviously we're adding those products soon.
I actually had that same in the beginning, but for those that may be rewatching this later on, there used to be a mobile app company that would do individual. They're shutting down just because it became such a management nightmare to keep everybody's app with their own logo and all that stuff. So I think in the long run, while I would love to have my agency's logo on there, I think it would secure the.
Well, and also what I'm thinking is long-term, call it a 5-year scope. If they're getting used to open up their GloveBox for everything insurance related, it's just going to be nice to have your agency's logo on there, regardless of if they have insurance with you on that product or not. So that's going to be cool.
Is there any plans for, and this is a random question that I just thought of, being able to push notifications?
Yeah, we're working on
to them.
notifications. Yeah, exactly. So let's say you have an agency announcement or a carrier update or whatever it may be, you're going to be able to go into your dashboard and make that announcement and push that out. So yes, that's coming very soon as well.
Is there anything with the new Apple iOS, how they can actually change the logo? Would there be a way for us to push a thing out to them to do that?
Yeah, and that's
or
like,
not?
I've seen that through like Tesla's app, for example. You can change the icon. That isn't on our priority list, but it's on our to-do list. So it's inevitable. It's just not current. We have just so many more initiatives, but that's definitely on the table. So it's not like we're not going to do it. It's just a matter of when.
We actually have a small regional carrier in our area here in Ohio, and they will make a mobile app for you. And it actually does have the actual logo on it, but it must be a small scale where they're not doing
Yeah.
as many, I take it. But
Precisely. But we've had, speaking of, we've had, well, I guess a different scope, but we've had some agencies who they changed their app logo inside of the app like once a week. And some of them have chosen to do a GIF because our technology actually allows a GIF on side of the agency's card where you saw the card on insurance logo. They could actually put a GIF in there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes it kind of fun, maybe holiday specific, whatever it may be. So that agency card is turned into an ad space. Like you can put whatever you want on there. So treat it like that.
What kind of information do we send up to you guys every week or whatever you set for the update?
Yeah, so your management system will have a report that we're going to help you build. It takes about 5 minutes to build the report, and then it's just going to be called the GloveBox report. Depending upon the management system that you use, some of them can schedule it to send to us automatically. And it's really, I don't know, a handful of data points. My business partner, Sean, is the specialist with the data. So he would kind of guide you on what you need to pull from that report. Things like name, email, phone number, carrier name, policy type, and policy number. Those are kind of the primary data points so that we can display in app which carrier they have and which policy number they need. And then, of course, distribution for phone number and email.
And when we rolled our app out, we started with the ones that had the direct, if I remember right. They scheduled it so the direct connect carriers were the ones that we targeted first, got some engagement there, and then moved on to the other, rolling the rest of them out.
So we've had agencies do both sides of it. It certainly hasn't affected one way or another. I mean, client adoption's been great, and experience. We've had very little people say they're confused. So, and if they do, we jump in and live chat them. So.
Yeah, I think we're up to like 37% adoption already.
Too. And you've been doing it a few months?
Yeah, just a couple months. I think three months or so.
Excellent. And you're setting the standard for next year and the year following that this over time is how you engage with my agency if you want something simple. So.
Yeah, when they ask for a deck page, we just say download our app. And then we send them a link to that. We don't send deck pages out anymore.
Look at you go. I love it.
How much can be done by text for getting adoption rather than email?
Yeah, we actually see more people using the app through the text or getting started through the text message versus the email. The email ends up being more informational. It's a little bit longer, and what we talk about is features and functionality. The text is just an invitation. Hey, good news. Source One Insurance is now utilizing GloveBox. Click here to get started. So.
Yeah, because these guys know my agency is the odd duck. So I've got people that don't have email, but they have a smartphone.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
We collect both so that we can distribute it both sides. Okay. And actually, we're working, I think next week it's coming out where they can log in with either an email or a phone number. So.
Okay, so right now it's log in with the email.
Right now it's just phone number. And then
so that's perfect. Yeah.
Next week it's going to have that email side. So.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
By using that text to send it out, if we use like ZipWhip, does that integrate and come from our phone number when it goes to them?
We've tried that. It actually doesn't work. So it's going to be our phone number. Again, we haven't really had an issue. People aren't worried about it because they get used to, if they didn't sign up the first time, they're going to get that second message the next week. They're fine with it. We haven't really had an issue with that.
And then that running the reports. So I'm on AMS 360. We got all these things that are linking to it, real time. Is that coming? Or is it on there?
We talked to Vertifor, and actually it's funny, I can see their skyscraper out the window behind Mile High Stadium here. We talked to them last week, and we're working on an API with them where you don't even have to do anything. That report will just automatically come to us. And then it would be within the hour. It would come every hour.
So if we change a carrier, change it from Travelers to Progressive, does that automatically update in their GloveBox, take one off and keep it on, or just shows canceled?
Yeah, it would remove the old, it would archive it, and then it would actually prompt them to connect to their new one.
Got it. Okay.
Are there other APIs that are in the works with like EasyLinks or HawkSoft?
The only one that, God, EasyLinks is such a pain. If any of you have EasyLinks, they're a pain in the butt. EasyLinks is the only one that currently is difficult to run reports, which I'm sure you all know, and there's something broken with their reports right now, but we can still get the proper data. It's just a pain in the butt. So if you happen to have easy links, it's not a problem. It's just a little bit more of a pain. Everyone else has pretty much, outside of Applied, Hawksoft, QQ, some of the others, NASA, we have a bunch that we're working on APIs with right now.
You have an approximate time on the vertiport? Like, you guys will be an orange partner with them, or?
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be within, I don't want to give you a wrong indication. I would say within 2 months. But I wouldn't let that hinder the decision to go forward. It's because it's pretty easy to set up the first report and we remind you once a week to send it over. So
I just have one of my assistants run it every Friday morning and send it to Sean.
There you go.
Or upload it to the dashboard.
Yeah, you can either upload it to the dashboard or email it to us. Yep.
So it takes her like 5 minutes. That's her first task on Monday morning, is to run the weekly report.
I love it.
And what do you do then on onboarding if you write the policy, let's say on Monday, but Friday's your update date? Can the person actually sign up beforehand, or?
Yeah, what you would do is we have some agencies in their email signature, they've added a button that says access your policies powered by GloveBox, and they click on that and it opens up your app and they can start an account. Their policies wouldn't be pre-generated for them until that Friday or whatever in your situation that you mentioned, but they could still access your agency, and they can actually go in to their carrier and start their account if they have their policy number.
It just takes a little bit more time because they can't copy and paste their policy number straight out of the app.
Yeah.
But you could send them the report quicker. We just chose to do it every Friday.
You could do it however often you want. If you want to do it daily, you certainly can.
I had a question. Is Progressive and Safeco, are those direct APIs right now?
Safeco is, Progressive is not. Progressive, guys, was the only carrier that said they wanted to wait on the sidelines and watch this play out.
Really?
They are funny. They said they do enough for their independent agencies.
Huh.
I'll let you.
I totally agree with that. They do so much for us.
Maybe I won't post this video on the public web.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
I'll keep it in the group now.
Stay
right.
space.
Or
Are they-
I'll magically
are they
have
embedded at least, or not, or nothing?
Sorry, the Progressive's on there. They're just a service portal. So
Service portal. Okay.
So get this, I just got it on my phone. I got an email about 5 minutes after I started an account, and it says right there, it says, welcome to the car auto insurance app. And then it lists out, thank you for getting set up. And it talks about the carrier feature, or sorry, not the carrier features, the features that you can do within the application. And then here, do you want to share this with your family? So you can copy this link and send it to your friends and family. And then there's a user guide so that the individual can see front to back on how the technology works.
And that was triggered in the beginning when you were doing the demo and you did the signed up.
Yep.
Pretty slick.
Hey, Andy.
Yeah.
I said one other thing. I don't know if I've seen it on like a press release or something on your company, but it was talking about generating revenue from like referring out to, adjusters or car dealers buying a new,
Sure.
you had a claim and that stuff. Is that there now or not, or how does that work?
Yes. So we didn't really want to talk about that on today's webinar, but
I'm
we're
sorry.
actually going to be working with a company called Cinch and a company called Notion. Now, Cinch deals with home warranty, which is cool because you could go onto your app and purchase home warranty. That's coming pretty soon. Notion is actually owned by Comcast, and they're going to allow you to buy home security, which is super cool. So actually you'd be able to manage your home security through your agency's app, which is so cool. They're going to be in there daily, if not, to manage their security system that they purchase through your app. We are working on the other piece of that, which could be like a home advisor type where, hey, I need a roofer, I need a contractor of some sort. So stay tuned on those announcements. Travis, can I have you knock off that part of the recording?
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey guys, appreciate it. I got to run. I've got a meeting I have to get to.
All good. I think that
Sweet.
covers just about everything. So I appreciate it, guys. Reach out to me at andy@gloveboxapp.com if you want to chat, if you want to get started. fairly quick turnaround on this stuff. So we do have a wait list of about 36 agencies right now, but it can move pretty quickly.
And I've got a calendar link that I'll drop in the group if you guys want to just schedule a time with them to follow up.
Awesome.
But I was pretty excited. I think it's one of the cooler technologies out there for independent agents right now. So
yeah, and this is only the beginning. So we're looking to evolve.
I didn't want to open my mouth because I knew some of the stuff that you'd mentioned, and I was excited about the future as well. It's not just what's today, it's what's to come as well.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, we're kind of holding our close to the vest on the Notion and Cinch deal, and then we're willing to talk about the marketplace because we want people to get excited about clients being able to jump in and purchase ancillary insurance products. So
sure. Cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Look forward to hearing from you. And Travis, I really appreciate you, buddy, and we'll connect.
Hey, appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Yep, thank you. See ya.